it actually hurt these places quite badly, and they've had to rebuild. But I'll say this, there's a lot of hope for Eastern Europe. I did travel there. I might show you some pictures. And there's a lot of hope. And the places that economically had the least growth now are in the position of having the most potential. So some of these economies are the fastest growing. And the growth in Western Europe, and in a lot of places so-called Western, has really slowed. And there's a lot of potential and hope for Eastern Europe. So having said that, that's how the United States helped with the Marshall Plan, which was a plan to bring some money for rebuilding and unifying Europe. And Europe has done a fantastic job of unifying. It's one of the most unified economically places in the world, of taking all these separate countries and unifying them under the European Union. There are still some states that are not joiners, and some of them don't wish to join for a couple of reasons, various reasons of their own, and some of them are in a position where they might apply, but it's pending. And then there's other cases where they're not even attempting to apply. So there's maps that show countries that are in the European Union. You can look at that map and see. There's also the Eurozone. Now, not all of the countries that are in the European Union are also in the Eurozone. Sometimes they keep their own money. The pound of the UK is one example of that. The UK is in the European Union, but does not use the euro. It's not in the Eurozone. So these so-called outsiders, or those that haven't joined yet, they fall into a couple of groups. One group, can you imagine? I don't know. There's not many that haven't joined, but there are still a few. How about the case of Switzerland? Switzerland is a neutral place and chooses not to join. Do you know of any other place that is like that? Norway, very good. Norway, with its fishing economy and gas and oil booms of recent, is a fairly independent place also. Those are two good examples of those who just choose not to join for their own reasons. Then there are places that were shattered during World War II. This was brought up last time in a previous class. Can somebody give me the name of the country that was shattered into pieces? Former Yugoslavia, thank you. So some countries in former Yugoslavia are now either applying or haven't joined the Union yet. And European Union likes to have stability for people that join the European Union. The reason for that is, you've probably seen recently, some countries have been bailed out by the European Union. So those that are joiners, there's lots of taxes paid into it, but being part of the union has many, many, many economic benefits too. There's great health care, there's many other benefits associated with being part of that union. Can you think of some things that might not be an advantage to being part of a union? That if a country needs bailing out, you'll have to pay the money for it. And so those countries that are in the union and paying lots of money into the union because of their great output might not be so happy at bailing out countries that are not doing so well. So for that reason, the European Union does have requirements to join it. So there's countries that haven't joined for that reason. Now there are some also far over towards the east, such as the Ukraine, that were part of the Soviet Union. at one point because they were taken over, part of the USSR, and so have some political issues to this day. Still a lot of Russian people living there. And so there's still that ideological division that occurs. And so these are the main issues that remain. And why every single country hasn't joined the European Union.